For a pan-seared chicken, we're going to go ahead and I have an airline chicken breast here. I have it rubbed with a little bit of butter, so we're just going to do a little salt and pepper on here. Just to season it up nice. And for this application, we're going to use a granite enamel pan. This one you can see here is a 2x1 granite enamel pan, full-size Gastronorm. In inches, you've got 20 by 24 inches. So I'm just going to take the airline breast, place some skin side down on the granite enamel pan, and it's also got the granite enamel coating, so it's very, very non-stick. It's very durable when it comes to going through the warewashing process, but really, really nice is the fact that it really transfers heat fast. So it's going to allow us to really transfer the energy to the skin to get a nice crispy skin on the outside while making sure that the chicken is nice and juicy on the inside. Here we have 12 pieces on there. So now once I have that panned up, I'll go to my self-cooking center, and here what I want to do is go ahead and select the poultry button and pan fried. For this particular application, we're going to go ahead and use thick, because thick is telling us that we want to use the core temperature probe. So I'm going to use thick. We're going to go with the medium coloration so that you can see what is dark, what is light. And from that step there, we're going to go ahead and set this for 165. If you decide that you want to cook it a little bit under or cook it beyond 165, that's totally up to you. You select your desired result. But we're going to go with 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Now you can see that the self-cooking center is indicating that it's preheating. Now that it's preheating, it's actually giving me an indication of visual here on my status bar so that I know about how long is it going to take to go. If I want to know what's going on or how is it going to cook, what's the temperature that it's going to preheat to, all I have to do is go ahead and touch my cockpit button here. So I go to the ICC cockpit, select that, and you can see here that the self-cooking center is going to preheat using dry air to 428 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see that it's actually got a 4-step process here. Right now it's in step 1 out of 4. The next step is it's going to ask me to load, which is going to happen here momentarily. Beyond that, it's going to say that it's going to be roasting the product in combination mode at 341 degrees with high humidity. And then it's going to go into a dry setting for at the very end to extract the humidity and give us that nice crisp skin. So while that's continuing to preheat here, I'll go ahead and season the other side of our chicken. And the self-cooking center will be ready just momentarily. So you can see the self-cooking center is now indicating and asking me to load. It's preheated. You can see the light is blinking. I'm going to go ahead and pop open the door. Here you can see that it's actually asking me to insert the core temperature probe. We'll go ahead, we'll load in our pan of product. And from here what I want to do is I'm going to use a towel because the probe is hot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the probe from its holster. So the core temperature probe is intelligent. It has 6 different read points or 6 different sensors. 1 in the handle to read the level of browning that we're looking for, and 5 throughout the needle. Okay, so I want to take the core temperature probe, take one of my products. I like to probe in the middle of the pan. If I have multiple pans here, I'm going to probe towards the middle of the cooking chamber. So now I want to take the core temperature probe, insert it into the thickest part of the product, just making sure that I'm getting as many sensors as I possibly can onto the needle so that it gets its most accurate reading. Then I'll take it, place that right back onto the pan, close the door, and now my self-cooking center goes to work. It's going to figure out how big is the product. It's going to figure out how much is it cooking at one single time, and then it's going to make any adjustments necessary. At this point, you can see that the self-cooking center is in step 3 out of 4, and it's telling me that it's in combination mode and it's cooking at 410 degrees with 90% humidity. When it goes to the next step, it'll tell me that it's going to go to start to dry out the cabinet so that we make sure that we get a nice crisp crust on there. So right now it wants to make sure that we have juicy product on the inside. Final step will be crispy on the outside. So now we can go back and we can check on the self-cooking center to see what has it done, how much more time does it have. If I read the panel here, you can see that we're in intelligent cooking control, poultry, pan fried. It's telling me that it's approximately 5 minutes left in the cooking process, and it's at actually 96 degrees internal temperature. Over here you can see that it's asking us, or telling, we've set it for 165. If I go down through my cockpit here, I've got a little information button. This is the ICC monitor, Intelligent or Interactive Cooking Control Monitor. If I select the monitor, here it's giving me a couple of messages. It's telling me that the probe check, the probe position check is complete, and it's actually removed 7 minutes and 40 seconds or 7 minutes and 38 seconds from its actual cook time. And it's also told me that the product size recognition, how much product is it cooking at one time, has also been completed, and it increased the temperature 69 degrees from its default setting. What that's telling me is the self-cooking center realized that it's a small chicken breast and that it's only cooking one pan. So what it's done is said, I have to remove the time and increase the temperature to get back to our settings, which were, again, medium coloration and 165 degrees. So there you can see the self-cooking center reacting for you, adjusting, backing you up so you don't have to go back and constantly open the door. Insert your own core temperature probe in order to make sure what stage or what step is it in now, how much longer does it have, or have to go and adjust the temperature on your own. The self-cooking center is doing that for you all automatically. You can see now what the self-cooking center is doing is it's actually dehumidifying the cabinet. It's gone to its last step here. It's in step 4 out of 4. The very final step, it's increased the temperature. Right now it's working at 487 degrees and it's dehumidifying the cabinets. It's extracting humidity from the cabinet to make sure that we get a nice crispy skin on the outside of the chicken. Approximately 4 minutes to go here. You can see that the self-cooking center is now at 112 degrees. So we'll come back once the self-cooking center is done. All right, the self-cooking center is just about done. You can see now it's 163 degrees. What's happening right now is it's actually evacuating some of the moisture and the smoke that's in the cooking cabinet because it's coming down to the end of its cooking process here. So we've got 1 degree to go before the buzzer alarms. You can see here that it's got a couple of options here in the end. It's telling me to follow. It's going to give me the ability to move the product from one to another. If I had a small product going to a larger product, I could do that. Or it gives me the ability to do another batch if I had to do one right after that. So what I'm going to do, now we have the zeros here, is I'm going to go ahead and pop the door. Let my hood capture all the smoke and the steam that's coming out of there. Got a nice sizzle going on there. You can see that it actually took 13 minutes total cook time here. So now what we can do is we can go ahead, pull out our core temperature probe. I'm going to go ahead and use tongs for that at this point. Take my core temperature probe, pull that out. And when you're not using the probe, always want to be sure that you're placing it back in its holster, okay? So now we want to take some towels. Out comes our nice pan-seared chicken here. Let's have a look and see what we have. So you can see that we've got a nice, beautiful sear on the chicken. All of them are nice and evenly colored here. I'm very, very confident that I've got a delicious, juicy inside. I've got a nice crisp on the outside of the chicken here. Pull some of those off. Let it rest, and then we'll go ahead and carve into one of these. If you decide now, visually, you say, I know that chicken's the chicken I want to serve every single time, it's so easy to program your self-cooking center. All you have to do is simply hit the notepad. So I'm going to go ahead and touch the notepad here, and I'm going to write pan-fried chicken. Go ahead and hit my save button there, and there you can see that I have it stored in the memory and I can use it every single time, regardless of who's using the equipment, who's operating, or how much I'm cooking. This is about a 5-ounce or a 6-ounce chicken breast. If you had to do 8-ounce chicken breasts, it doesn't matter. You're simply going to select the same program. The self-cooking center will make the adjustments to make sure that the larger product is coming out with the same result as the smaller product here. So now we can go ahead and we can carve into one of these to see what does our internal look like here. I can feel a nice crisp on that skin there, and you can see that we've got a nice, beautiful, juicy chicken breast ready for service.